What's happening, troops? So we say this every year. It is the perfect time to be a WWE fan. We've got the Royal Rumble. We're on the road to WrestleMania. And we are getting our first snippets and look into WWE 2K25. And as per usual with 2K, we have a few different additions to choose from. Obviously, we've got the Roman Reigns base standard cover. We have got the Dead Man edition and the Bloodline edition. And the standard edition, obviously we're getting the base game. We're also getting the WWE 2K24, and if you pre-order early, you're getting the Wyatt 6 pack. Now 25 sees another year a Wyatt / Howdy DLC, not getting featured in the main game, but pretty safe bet that most of the diehards are going to be ordering this one early. And with the Bloodline edition, we get up to 7 days early access, the Bloodline bonus pack, Dead Man edition bonus pack, ringside pass, obviously the Wyatt 6 once again, The Rock, Nation of Domination. Hopefully we get some Farouk, we get some D'Lo Brown in there. It'd be great to see some of the Nation featured in there, but as it stands, The Rock. But if they're name dropping the Nation, surely we're going to see some more characters in there. And the Dead Man edition pretty much covers all that stuff except for the Bloodline. And some kind of other wee snippets that's featured in with these. Some of these editions are coming with some Mattel, MyFaction / base game characters. There's something that's under the Greatest Hits Roman Reigns Mattel figure. And we've got the Yeet Man, Jay, as an action figure in there for the Bloodline version. And then the same with the Dead Man, some Mattel action figures for the Undertaker as well. And there's a couple other wee items in there that we will cover very shortly, which is a new feature for 2K. So diving into all things new with 2K25, and talking to diving, we've got the barriers. Now, I never thought security barriers would be a focal point in these early days for 2K25, but here we are. So certain superstars will have certain movesets that they can execute off the barriers, which is pretty sweet. And in this day and age, we've got fancy LED barriers, IRL, and they're adding that into 2K, and we're also going to be able to damage those. So Irish whipping in day maneuvers into the LED barriers is going to damage them over time, which is a pretty cool wee feature. And they have said it'll kind of look displaced and the barriers will move a little bit, so sometimes the small details can go a long way. So barriers getting damaged and moved for that overall presentation and vibe in the matches could be a really cool feature. And then something that has been teased for the last kind of week or so, pretty kind of open knowledge now, we are getting what's dubbed as NXT Underground, but I mean, how can we forget Raw Underground? Big Shane O'Mac, the Nigerian giant Omos, featuring in Raw Underground, but we are getting underground matches for the first time in 2K. And again, a presentation ring looks quite cool. No ring ropes, people surrounding the ring, lumberjack style. The execution and how that's going to play out, like Irish whips and stuff, do they just fall out the ring? It's going to be interesting to see how the core gameplay mechanics kind of work out in the underground mode. But I tell you what, I'm here for it. Something new, something a bit fresh, and it's going to be really fun to see how that plays out. And staying on track with the new features, matches, etc. Intergender matches. What's the status? Can sleep easy and rest? Nobody's having to have these crazy ways to introduce them to the game. Intergender matches are officially here. We've seen some screenshots, as we can see, so that's going to be a fun feature. There has been some chat of specific titles for intergender matches, maybe some made up titles, or are we getting the old China Intercontinental title? Going to mention to see how that plays out, but that's going to be creating a lot of kind of fun and wacky matchups, and it's going to be really funny to see what the community come up with, the intergender stuff. But again, simple but cool addition to 25, and a big focus of 2K25 is the Bloodline. Got to raise the ones, and we are getting a Bloodline rules match. Which Bloodline? It's always about interference, people running in, jumping, and we are getting the Bloodline match as an official match type. So I think it's each person gets up to 3 run-ins. You can charge up something to kind of cash in your run-in. So you're starting with a 1-on-1, and then all of a sudden we're probably going to have this multi-man madness coming in with finishers, chaos, left, right and centre. Again, how that's going to get executed is going to be interesting to see, because I mean, there's only so much you can do with it. But again, because it's such a Bloodline featured product this year, it's going going to be interesting. And continuing with the Bloodline, something that has been discussed for the last few days on social media, the tease of the island irrelevancy, NBA city style mode. Is it going to be a thing? Is it no? But we're all speculating. Well, it turns out we are getting the island. Mixed feelings with this one. One thing, it's only going to be PS5 and Series X, not going to be on PC for whatever reason, but that's fine. But no PS4, no older gen Xboxes. It's 2025. Can we just leave these PS4s and stuff in the dust? So I see this as a small step into us not getting held back with old tech. But is it something the community's kind of been crying out for, having this free roam? There's talking like a third-person camera for certain aspects within the game. I'm assuming the island is going to kind of feature a lot of that. I'm guessing cosmetics locked behind it, etc. And tying back into these DLCs and pre-order bonuses, Deadman, Bloodline editions. There is some cosmetics that they've kind of touted to be tied into the island with OTC, hoodies, t-shirts for the Bloodline, t-shirts for Roman Reigns, the Undertaker's infamous mask when he broke his eye socket as a cosmetic that's tied to the island irrelevancy, and a couple of other little bits. So obviously they're pushing that. Again, I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm not going to shit on it straight off the rip, but for me it's not something that I was high on the list of features. But again, small positives. It's I'm not using the term next gen. PS5 and that's been out forever. Current gen. Like, at least we're taking a wee step in that direction. Hopefully in 26 we just take that full leap. And some small updates to Universe mode. That's getting a little bit TLC. It's a fun game mode. It's something I dabble in here and there. I know a few kind of creators with e-feds and stuff like that. Shout out to the PWF, Big Jigs 85, great e-fed out there. Search them up on the YouTube. But we're getting some improvements to Universe mode with some promos and stuff like that. So I know a lot of kind of content creators out there are going to love some kind of promo options. With it, how in depth it's going to be, we don't know. We see this little screenshot here of Becky Lynch. How intricate and detailed this is going to be. Who knows? Hopefully it's going to be something that's quite layered and quite meaty and add some nice options for Universe mode, because I know we've all been crying out for a little bit more meat and potatoes in there. And MyFaction, I'm one of the few that loves MyFaction. I love the grind, I love the cards. I've got a video about it you can watch here. But MyFaction's one I love, and they're getting ready Proving Grounds to a more linear type of mode. Faction Wars is getting a revamp. I think the kind of leak to the storylines, Kevin Owens and Bayley and a couple other characters go back to NXT, that ties into something for this linear kind of story driven-esque thing for MyFaction. So some small revamp here again. It's a mode I like. Some kind of pre-orders and bundles and deluxe versions. Deadman, Bloodline will come with some kind of cosmetics and cards for MyFaction, as we usually get. And then we've also got MyGM, a mode I didn't play too much, but that's got some changes, some online aspects coming to MyGM, and you can kind of challenge other players to certain things. So every kind of game mode, showcase a wee bit different. GM, MyFaction, at least there's a wee effort here this year trying to mix things up a little bit. And finally, the showcase mode. No more slingshot video replays and saying one maneuver into another real life action scene today, another maneuver, and then get another action scene. They're kind of revamping it to video packages and stuff like that. And again, the focus for Showcase is the Bloodline. So the all-new Showcase hosted by the wise man, Paul Heyman, celebrates one of the most historic family dynasties in wrestling. Relive legendary showdowns or dream matches between the Bloodline and WWE superstars and legends. So we're going to have a really big Bloodline featured old matches. We have seen some snippets of the Usos and stuff like that with Hell in a Cell, so is there kind of a dream what if match there. We've seen little snippets here and there with some screenshots or stuff in the trailer, but we're probably going to get some played matches. We see Cody and Roman facing off at Mania. We see Yokozuna in here. We see Umaga. So obviously, early days here, as of recording, we're the 28th of January. Some cool wee things we've seen so far on paper, sounds interesting. There's obviously going to be a ton of reveals down the road, but overall impressions, I'm optimistic. I'm a wrestling nerd, I live for this shit. I'm always going to buy into the games, and I'm always going to be the old saying, you'd rather be optimistic than wrong, then pessimistic than right, or however it goes. Quote me to that. But I'm always going to head into these things kind of hoping for the best. Sound off in the comments, anything we're worried about, concerned about, we're happy with stuff. We're obviously going to cover more news down the road whenever it comes, but first video for 2K25, it's an exciting time. Like I said, let me know in the comments, the usual YouTube stuff as well. Hit the like button, hit the sub if you ain't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.